Hello, Algebra 1. Today we are going to continue with distributive property and combining like terms. Before we get to the more challenging problems, we're just going to do a quick reminder of some of the basics. So to start off, again, you're always going to take your outside number from the parentheses. You are multiplying it to the inside numbers. Especially be careful about the sign on the inside. So we have a 2 times a 6x, which is a 12x. And we have a 2 times a negative 10, which is a negative 20. And this is it. This is our answer. Those are not like terms, so we cannot combine them. Now, before I get too far into this video, I'm just going to let you know that we are still having the roof worked on here at O'Plain. So if you hear any strange pounding noises or large crashes, that is just some people working on the roof. And I'm just going to keep on doing math here. All right, let's keep going. So next I have 3/5 on the outside. I'm going to multiply that to negative 2. And let's go ahead and type that into our calculator. I'm not going to type the x in, okay? I just want to type in the regular numbers. What was it again? 3/5 times negative 2. All right, but bad news, when we do that, you may have noticed we got a decimal. Now, in a few lessons ago, I showed you how to change this decimal to a fraction. What we're going to go ahead and do is press on the math button and then frac, enter, enter, and we get negative 6/5. So that's how we're going to prefer to write that, please. We're going to put negative 6/5x. And then we're going to do this again. We're going to do 3/5 times 10. And that is a positive 10, everybody. All right, 3/5 times positive 10. So again, that is 3/5 times a positive 10. And notice it does not give you a decimal this time. So 6 is just your answer. It is a positive 6. And because it is a positive 6, we're going to put plus 6. And there you go. All right, that's distributive property. Now we're going to combine like terms to simplify the expression. When we combine like terms, it means that your same variable with the same exponents have to go together. This is a positive 2x to the second. And then here's another x to the second. There's not a number in front, it's just a 1. So you can either think of this as 2 plus negative 1 or 2 minus 1, because we have a minus in front of this x squared. Either way, it is a 1x squared, and if you prefer to just write it like this, that is also totally fine. Now I have my negative 10x and my plus 3x. I'm going to add those up. Negative 10 plus 3 is negative 7x. Again, feel free to use your calculator. All right, let's take a look at number 4 and give this one a try. I have 19x, and I have another like term for this. I have another 19x. Okay, now here's the thing you need to be careful about. A lot of times I'll have people tell me that 19x minus 19x is just x. But remember, if you just have an x, there's a 1 in front. Is 19 minus 19 1? No, it is not. It is 0. So if it is 0, everybody, guess what? There is nothing there. Those have canceled out. They are gone. The only thing we have left are our regular numbers. We have a negative 8 minus 2, and that is a negative 10. So this is the only answer here. That's it. All right, so in our last lesson, we started putting these ideas together. So that's what we're going to do now. That's the focus of today's lesson. So what I'm going to go ahead and do first is always look for, oops, moving things around here. I'm always going to look for my multiplication first, and that'll be right around my parentheses. That number on the outside, what I'm going to go ahead and do is multiply. If I can get my pen to work. Let's try again here. There we go. Negative 4 times 2x is negative 8x. And then this is negative 4 times negative 10. A negative 4 times a negative 10 is a positive 40. And then we're just going to bring our plus 12x down. We do have another step here. We need to look for our like terms. So we have an negative 8x and a plus 12x. Remember, now we are combining, so this is addition. Negative 8 plus 12 is 4. Don't lose your x. And then our 40 just comes down. All right, let's try it again. So again, find your parentheses. Whatever number is right outside those parentheses is going to be what you're multiplying. So this 2 is multiplying to 9, 18. This 2 is multiplying not to 4h, but to negative 4h. That makes this negative 8h. Our 12h is not in the parentheses, it just comes down. And now you're going to look for your like terms. I prefer to put the variable first. That's something called standard form. So usually what you should do is start with the variable first. We're going to put these two together. Negative 8 plus 12 is 4. And then we have an h. And then this 18 is a positive, so it's plus 18. If you have it written like this, that is also technically correct. All right, next. Well, looks like we have a little numbering error here. We're jumping from number 6 to number 8. Apologies for that. This time, you still have parentheses, but notice they're in a slightly different place. You are still always going to start with the number right outside the parentheses. So in this case, it is the 3. 3 times 9x is 27x. And not 3 times 12, but 3 times negative 12 is negative 36. See this 2x, the one not in the parentheses, you're just going to bring it down. Look for your like terms. We have 2x and 27x. Add them up. 2x plus 27x is 29x, and that minus 36 just comes down. All right, now we've made the problem a little more extensive here. We've got more things going on. You are still always starting with the parentheses, okay? So find that number right outside of the parentheses. It is a 2. Multiply inside the parentheses. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Bring everything else down exactly where it was. And now we look for like terms. Again, I'm going to encourage you to do the variables first. So I have a plus 2x and a plus 8x. Remember, you are adding. 2 plus 8 is 10. Don't lose your x. And then we have a negative 8 and a negative 6. So again, you can either think of this as negative 8 plus negative 6 or negative 8 minus 6, whichever you prefer. Either way, it's going to be a negative 14. All right, we have a few more on the back. Go ahead and flip the page. Number 10. All right, this one's getting a little trickier. And here's why. Yes, you're starting with parentheses. Yes, you're starting with the number outside the parentheses and multiplying, but you are not actually multiplying a 2 here. I know it looks like a 2, but it is not a 2. It is actually a negative 2. So you've got to be really careful. There's a minus in front. That means it's a negative. So this becomes negative 2x and negative 6. That 5 just drops down in front. Again, I'm really going to recommend that you stick with doing your variables first. So the only variable is negative 2x. So I'm going to write that one down first. And then your numbers are 5 minus 6 is negative 1. If you have it written like this, that is also correct. Now, number 11 is very similar, but instead of having a number in front of the parentheses, it looks like there's nothing there. There actually is, though. There's really an invisible one, if I can write it. Come on, computer, you can do it. There we go. Okay. So you are distributing a negative 1. The mistake people make is they want to distribute this guy. This guy is nowhere even near the parentheses, okay? That 4x is literally just hanging out. It's coming down, all right? We're not doing anything with it right now. You are distributing the negative 1 to give you a negative 1x, and then negative 1 times negative 10 is positive 10. Combine those like terms. 4x minus 1x is 3x, and then that plus 10 just comes down. All right. 2 more. Let's try one similar to that again, just kind of amping it up a little bit. Start with your parentheses, find that number in front. It's not the 3. We are not distributing the 3. We are distributing a -1. That 3 can just drop down. -1 times 2x is -2x. -1 times 16 is -16. Drop down that -9x. Oop, oh gosh. There we go. Okay. All right. We're back. All right. So now, again, I start with variables. So I have a -2x and a -9x. And again, you can either think of this as addition, -2 plus -9, or you can think of it as -2x minus 9x. Either way, it's a -11x. Your numbers are 3 minus 16, which is -13. If you have it written like this, it is the same thing. All right, one more before we get to our challenge problems. So this one, double distributive property. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to distribute the 2 to these guys. We're going to distribute the 2/3 to these guys. Again, don't be concerned about the fraction. You have a calculator, you can just type it in. All right, 2 times 8x is 16x. 2 times -12 is -24. 2/3 times 6x. Just a reminder, you're not going to type the x in. I'm going to use Desmos this time, actually. Don't mind that. That's just my Canvas page. All right, I'm doing 2/3 times, what was I multiplying by again? 6. And you can see you get a 4. So that's a +4, right? Plus 4x. And then 2/3 times -30. I'm just going to change that. Instead of typing it all in again, I'm going to change it to -30. And that gives you a -20. So you should have a -20. And now we can find our like terms. 16x plus 4x is 20x. And -24 plus -20 is -44. All right, if you're still with me, we're going to move to our challenge problem. So we are now going to look at this, but with function notation. Simplify the following functions using distribution and or combining like terms. All right, so we practiced this a little bit in the previous lesson. First thing we have to do is set it up. So we have 2 times h of x. Bring down your 2, open your parentheses. You're going to find the function that says h of x. That's this guy. So you're going to put a 4x minus 1. Close your parentheses. All right, so we just replaced that. Plus 3 times, all right, open up parentheses. F of x is this guy. That's going to go there. -5x plus 7. And look, now it looks exactly like a problem we just did, except no fractions this time. So we're going to distribute. Again, that means multiply. Distribute. 2 times -1 is -2. Now we distribute our 3. 3 times -5x is -15x. And 3 times 7 is +21. Find your like terms. 8x minus 15x is -7x. -2 plus 21 is +19. And so we put +19. Let's try one more like that. H of x. See how there's not a number in front of h of x? All right, so that just means it's h of x. Minus 4 times g of x. All right, this is g of x, so that's what's going to go in your parentheses. All right, now, this first one does not have distributive property. So we're starting with the parentheses, finding the number right in front. It's not a 4, it's a -4. So we have -4 times -3x is a +12x. And -4 times 6 is a -24. And then you're just going to bring all of this down. And then we're going to combine our like terms. 4x plus 12x is 16x. And negative 1 plus a negative 24 is a negative 25. And there you go. That is actually more difficult than you will see on your Unit 0 quiz. But you will see some challenge problems like that on your homework tonight. So make sure you give them a try. All right. I hope you have a great day. Bye.